Welcome to the deep dive for this week. Don't forget to visit the website at deepdiveau.net. Check out our socials and Patreon page at the Deep Dive AU. Subscribe via your favorite podcast app or like and subscribe at our YouTube page at the Deep Dive AU.
The Deep Dive podcast mugs are now available for purchase and are currently on sale. Just go to our merchandise page at deepdiveau.net to purchase one. Don't miss out on this opportunity to grab one for yourself or as a thoughtful gift for a fellow podcast enthusiast.
This is the Deep Dive Podcast. And here is your host, Michael Coles.
Angie Martin is a dedicated business mentor, product developer, and digital marketing manager with 2 decades of experience in fashion and business development. Starting her first business at just 12 years old, Angie's entrepreneurial journey reflects her passion for growth and empowerment. Originally from London, Ontario, Canada, she moved to Australia in 2012 to deepen her expertise. Angie's work spans fashion design, product development, and digital marketing, making her a trusted advisor to business owners seeking effective growth strategies. She founded the Growth Manager to support entrepreneurs with business development, marketing, and consumer behavior insights. In addition, she launched Pear Collections, a clothing brand dedicating to helping pear-shaped women embrace their natural beauty. Through both ventures, Angie's mission is to inspire confidence and self-worth, empowering others to achieve their goals and to celebrate their unique passions in both business and life. Angie Martin, welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hello, thank you so much for having me today.
So what are the essential tasks that must be prioritised within the 12-hour work week to ensure business sustainability?
It all depends on your priorities. For me, my number one priority is sorting and supporting my team, making sure their task allocation reviews and check-ins are being done. Then sorting and supporting my clients, making sure I'm prioritizing their mentoring sessions, homework allocation and reviews. And then it goes to me supporting my community, where I offer free content creation via social media, blog articles, and free groups. It's really all different for everyone.
Okay, so how can short-term goals be aligned with long-term objectives to maximize productivity in limited working hours?
Short-term goals should really be created based off your long-term objectives and then broken down into little tasks that can be actioned each week to keep you on track. To keep it nice and simple.
Nice and simple. So what strategies can be implemented to streamline operations and reduce time spent on routine tasks?
I love this question. I answer it with my clients all of the time. Any emails that you send more than once should all be templated and automated if possible. Any daily, weekly, or monthly tasks that are ongoing should really be processed out and, again, automated if possible. And what to do is you always want to integrate your system as much as possible so that each and every different software or application that you're using speaks to each other in unison. Saves you a lot of time and it streamlines everything for you.
Okay, so how can a growth manager assist in identifying and focusing on high impact activities within a constrained schedule?
This is different for every business and every person as well, but in the basics, you always need to make sure that you have your foundations of your business set first. It's like building a house. You need the foundations before you can build the walls and then put the furnishing in. So you need your foundations completed. Then you need to create strategic planning off of those foundations, broken that down then into time management strategies, sales and marketing optimizations. Then you go in and do process automation and delegation. Then you do a targeted performance analysis from all of the above. And then a customized accountability to make sure that you're working within your capacity and working to your own benefits and superpowers that you naturally come by.
Okay, so what tools and technologies can automate processes to free up time for strategic planning?
There are so many. I could do a whole episode on all of the different ones that I recommend, but I want to keep it nice and simple for people listening today. The number one is social media scheduling. Everyone, when they have a business or they want to be an influencer or anything, they're always obsessed with social media scheduling, and it actually takes the most time and usually yields the least amount of revenue. So you really want to focus on that one first. Media scheduling is where you batch create content and plan it out and then schedule it for months in advance. For my business and my clients, I try and do it every 3 to 6 months, if not 12 months, to save them time. Then usually scheduling platforms like Loomly or Later to schedule that out. Then we go into email marketing and email automations. Email automations are a bit different than normal emails that you get on a weekly basis. These are ones that are automated in series and are really personalized to different types of follow-ups and engagements that you're doing. Then you have your actual email marketing that you do on an ongoing basis. All of these need to be pre-planned out, pre-created, and then scheduled out ahead of time so you can kind of set and forget. Platforms that I recommend for that, I personally use Active Campaigns, but the main big one is like MailChimp out there that can be used.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so how can customer acquisition and retention be managed effectively within limited weekly hours?
Do what I do and use email automation. It saves me a whole heap of time. And honestly, I would say 9 times out of 10, if not more percentage than that, all of my deals close and all of my clients are supported through my email automation. It's my lifesaver.
Okay, so what criteria should be used to delegate tasks to ensure critical functions are covered within the available time that you've got?
This is where I mentioned again before a little bit earlier, but I'll go into more depth about it. It's knowing your superpower and working within it. So when it comes to working, being a parent, having your own business, it all really doesn't matter. Just being a human being, it's really good to understand what your superpower is, what you do really well that no one else can do the way you do it. First, you need to focus on that because no one else can do it. Then you need to identify all the different activities that you're doing that you can outsource and delegate it as fast as humanly possible. Because to keep your life happy, you should be focusing on what you're good at, what you love doing, and what your superpower is. Everything else can be done by someone else to help free up your time and make sure that you're living a healthier, happier life.
Okay, so how can setting specific, measurable, short-term goals contribute to achieving long-term business success?
I'm obsessed with this, and I work on this every month for myself and my clients. What that does is it helps you keep on track, accountable, and lets you know where to focus your time. Because every single day you sit down, like I do when I only have 12 hours to work on 2 different businesses, I need to make sure that every second and every minute is accounted for and highly optimized. So by continually setting those goals and actually them down into tasks, you're able to make the most out of your time and make the most impact.
Okay, so what methods can be employed to monitor and assess the effectiveness of time management strategies?
So many, but my main breakdown ones to keep it nice and bite-sized and easy for everyone is time auditing. You need to know where you're spending your time, and you need to know what days and hours in the day you naturally can be awesome at doing different tasks. You need to then break those tasks down in doing a prioritization analysis, which tasks are actually the top priority to make the most out of your day and get the most in the closest to your goals. Then you need to actually go in and do a goal achievement review. I always say to do this on an ongoing basis to make sure you're on track. And then you need to do a productivity analysis. By doing that, you're able to really understand where you're productive the most, where you might need support, and also using task management tools to really help in all of the above analysis to do ongoing performance checks for yourself as well, and do a reflection and adjustment as you go to make sure that you're being as effective as possible.
Okay, so what role does effective communication play in managing a business with limited working hours?
It's everything. It isn't even one role. It is everything. So communication for your team, for yourself, for your family, it's everything to you. And it is worth the time it takes to do proper and strong communication and then let everything else fall in with that.
Okay. So how can a business owner ensure that limited working hours do not impede growth opportunities?
Understanding your top priorities and sticking to them and actioning them is the top thing that you need to do. And you need to be really accountable with this and really understand your personal distractions and your work behavior to really stay on top of things to make sure that it doesn't impede your opportunities and your growth.
Okay, so what are the potential risks of operating a business on 12 hours per week, and how can that be mitigated?
There are so many risks. I'm not going to lie. I am consistently really focused on how to make things work for me, but you can. Some of the risks include limited time for high impact and money-making activities, inconsistent customer service, constant state of overwhelm, slower business growth as a whole, difficulty scaling, missed opportunities, burnout, and cash flow challenges. The best way to mitigate all of these ones is to really have that strong foundation and strong understanding of what works best for you, what are your top priorities, and what activities are actually going to be making you money and achieve your goals. Spending an hour on social media doing engagement might not necessarily move the dial anywhere. So it's really understanding where you should be spending your time and then doing it.
Okay. So how can a business owner maintain work-life balance while dedicating over only 12 hours per week to the business?
But this is a big one. So number one thing is you need to prioritize those high impact and money earning tasks and not procrastinate. We all procrastinate. So it's really important to understand how you procrastinate, how you can get out of that and get into flow state to really be working within your superpower. You need to time block and automate repetitive tasks, batch tasks. I batch every single task I do. Typically, if I do anything, I'll do it in an hour to 3 hour block to make sure it's done for the entire month. I set really clear boundaries for myself, my team, my clients, and my family. And I really go in and delegate and outsource as much as I humanly can because the reality is I can't do everything in 12 hours. It's impossible to ask that of anyone. So you need help. Just like raising a child, it takes a community to raise a business. You need to leverage reoccurring revenue streams and different revenue streams that are coming in. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket because that can really put you in a sticky situation. You need to also make sure that you are continually planning and strategizing. And while prioritizing your own personal well-being, don't multitask, because even though you think you're being more productive, it's actually way faster to focus on one task at a time and get it done in half the time. And then you also just need to track your progress and adjust as often as possible. Each week is going to be different and you need to be kind to yourself and understand that you can only do the best that you can do. So work within.
Okay, so basically, I know it's a bit of a fallacy, but I know multitasking is basically sort of like, an interesting thing in itself because no person can actually sort of do two things or three things at once. They can only sort of really concentrate on one thing. And if they concentrate on one thing, they can do that really well.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm one of those people. I used to be a massive multitasker. I used to think that was my superpower, but now the most multitasking I will do is putting on a load of laundry and letting that do its thing while I do something else. Anything else that takes my brain to do two things, I just never do it. And I'm way more productive than I've ever been in my entire life.
That makes total sense. And what long-term planning strategies are essential for a business operating on a limited weekly schedule to ensure sustained growth?
I love this question. This is probably my favorite question that you gave me because it's the question everyone has. And the basic thing is you need to have clear goals and then prioritize how you're going to actually make them happen by creating what I call a growth plan. It's not a business plan. It's a growth plan. It's really breaking down what you want to achieve, how it's going to be achieved, and then breaking down what can be automated and systemized to create processes to get that done. And again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but you need to time block. Time block is the biggest thing that has changed my complete life. I time block certain days of the month. So certain months of the day, certain days of the month, I do certain things every single month. Certain days I know I'm more social and I'm less. Some days I'm more analytical. Some days I'm not. So I batch and time block things within that. I optimize my sales funnel so that any sales, it's as easy as possible to make my sales, so I don't have to physically do it. I also do ongoing monitoring of my performance, my strategic partners that I work with, and my scalable offers that I'm really trying to sell to make sure that they are going to create that reoccurring revenue and get people to word of mouth marketing for me. I then also really prioritize investing in myself. This weekend, I just spent a whole heap of money doing an intensive wellness little retreat for myself. Even though I had 1,000,001 things I needed to do, I put them all on hold, took time out to fill my own cup to make the most of this last week that I'm working. And I've already actioned, I would say, 2 weeks worth of work, and it's only Wednesday. So taking that to invest in yourself is really important.
And filling your cup is awfully important too. And one last thing I like to ask, and we like to ask all our guests here on the Deep Dive podcast, if there's one little piece of advice in 30 seconds or less that you would like to give somebody, what would that be?
You can't do it all, so you need to be nice and kind to yourself and create a community that can help you do it all.
And on that note, Angie Martin, thank you very much for being part of the Deep Dive podcast today.
Thank you so much. I've loved being on it. I listen to you all the time, and I hope this has been beneficial for everyone.
For more information, go to www.thegrowthmanager.com.au or her Instagram page at thegrowthmanager_.